Warning. The subject of this film you are about to watch reveals a crucial secret of your life. You should watch it very attentively, for it concerns a subject that is liable to make fundamental changes in your outlook on the material world. The content of this film is not just a different approach or a philosophical thought. It is a fact, which is also proven by science today. Man is conditioned right from the beginning of his life that the world he lives in has an absolute material reality. So he grows up under the effect of this conditioning and builds his entire life on this viewpoint. The findings of modern science, however, have revealed a completely different and significant reality than what is presumed.
As the ozone layer nears complete destruction, the Earth begins to vaporize from the sun's intense radiation. Society as we know will be exterminated upon the complete rotation of the globe. Japan, China, Africa, Europe. The USA is still waiting for the sun to rise, knowing the fate that awaits them. Professor Klaus, the scientist who invented WOMBOIDs, a computerized living creature, is hoping that WOMBOIDs will survive the Earth's vaporization. Lucy and Jack hopes that the professor's theory on the new society formed by WOMBOIDs could eventually emerge. So you think they can live by their own? Absolutely. They look premature, but in fact they have the brain activity of a 10-year-old. They ought to teach themselves. They learn really fast. And with all the information on the internet and on their virtual internet. Professor, are you saying that these things are connected to internet and access the virtual server? Yes, they can access the internet and also generate their own spreadnet. They develop very, very quickly. From the early stage, they emit their own wave. They generate their own network. And from day one, all the data is shared. Their memory is recorded on the network and easily accessible at any time, whenever, wherever. WOMBOIDs are really sophisticated, Jack. They are a virtually trained living creature that can beat you at chess at 7 days old. It starts at the very beginning of the cell development. Its morphogenesis is basically based on cell division and works like a computerized cell containing a human embryo. Its brain will be the only part that will fully develop. They are alive, but they know a totally different reality. The WOMBOID sensitivity is way different, but work in the same way as the human. Like skin? Exactly. But a skin that is sensitive to wave frequency and particles rather than to our physical sensation. Because its skin is basically senseless, at least in our idea of the senses. So they don't feel anything? Oh yes, they feel like we feel, because it's all based on the human brain. But they control what they feel, I mean, how they feel. They have an organic brain-computer interface embedded with a program that stimulates the brain exactly like our nervous system. Their skin captures and emits waves while also absorbing energy from particles, calcium, sodium, iron, but also photons and electrons. That skin filters the element to distribute them to the organism. Then, the BCI has enough energy to stimulate the brain. It stores the extra energy until it has enough to duplicate, like a cell. So they don't need to copulate to reproduce. No. It's a computerized cell that has an initial setup configuration with the capacity to evolve and duplicate when it has stored enough energy. Professor, you created life. I copied it, to be precise. Imitate the system and improve it. Because now WOMBOIDs have the potential to change their own DNA. Therefore, they can reprogram the descendants' DNA as well. Regardless of the phenotypes, since their form doesn't have to answer the function. Their envelope is only a material threshold that makes reality possible. Looks like a human that grows in its home, but its interface with reality is a technologically advanced womb. So it's not a human anymore. They feel like humans, but they are definitely a new species. It's all based on the human brain. It's like if the brain controls a new body. But the morphogenesis of the human body stops at a certain point. Unlike the brain, which never stopped its development, the human then becomes the womboid. The brain never leaves the womb, like our brain never leaves our skull. For womboid, the skull is useless. The blastocyst serves all the function. Their interface with the material world is even better than ours, since we programmed it to the best of our knowledge. They don't perceive the material world in the same way. Their distribution of particles is redesigned. Even if its BCI is based on the human perception, they have already modified it and upgraded. How can they modify their perception? They reprogram themselves. They have the ability to script their mind and emotion. And since the information is shared and stored on their supranet network, they don't know just one reality. They know as many as they can invent. So it could be me. I mean, it could be us. My data is actually already uploaded in their network, but they have invented much more. I guess our perception of reality is limited. While the city is being destroyed, and as the world as we know it ends slowly, the lab does not escape the terrible destruction. But the womboids survived human extinction.
Finally, another in our occasional reports from journalism students around the country. Tonight, some cutting-edge technology used to tap into the human brain. The reporter is Jake Schonecker, a recent graduate of the University of California, Berkeley School of Journalism.
It's the stuff of science fiction. Mind reading. The power of the human brain has long captured the imaginations of Hollywood.
I'm gonna read your thoughts, Doc.
But as scientists learn more about how the mind works, it could become a reality. At UC Berkeley, Professor Jack Gallant and his team of researchers are in the early stages of piecing together how the mind perceives the world. It turns out it's a lot like watching a movie.
You walk around the world and you're moving your head and your eyes around and you're looking at scenes, but in some sense you're really just watching a movie of the world going by.
But what if the movies in your mind could be shared with someone else? Gallant's team did just that. They showed movie trailers to subjects inside this fMRI machine, a scanner designed to measure blood flow in the brain.
You can see there's some brain activity. This is the brain activity elicited by this movie, and red means more activity and blue means less activity.
They focused on the primary visual cortex, a part of the brain used to process general shapes, textures, and movement.
We want to essentially build a dictionary that translates between things that happen in the world and these different parts of your brain and how they respond.
Once they built the dictionary, they used it to comb through thousands of hours of video from YouTube, blending together the frames that matched best with their results. This allowed them to make a rough reconstruction of the movies the subjects saw. The images are far from perfect.
The contours, it knows there's a bright vertical thing with a thing sticking out of it.
Or check the weather, watch a movie, or study the Peloponnesian War. It feels like there's one wire connecting you directly to the thing you want.